everyone, my name is Yara and today I'm going to be doing a reading vlog for Again But Better by Christine Riccio. I actually got this copy at Christine's book event where I got to meet her and she signed my book and she was really sweet and it was so much fun. Like, Christine is so funny and Reagan from Peru's Project was also there, and those two are just people that I look up to as booktubers but also just as people. The book event was wild, to be honest, at least for me, because I was fasting and it was at like 7 o'clock, so that's like kind of the very near end of when you're fasting, so I was kind of like not in the right mindset. I was very scatterbrained, and so I tried talking to Christine and Reagan and like they were so nice, truly, but like I was so embarrassed. I could barely form a sentence, but yeah, they were so nice and I'm really glad I got to meet them. I guess I should explain what this book is about. So this is a coming of age rom-com starring a girl named Shane who's a junior in college, and she feels like she's doing college wrong. She doesn't have many friends, she doesn't really feel passionate about her major, she's just doing it to please her parents. And so one day she decides that she is going to study abroad in England with a creative writing program, because that's something she actually is passionate about. And through this experience she wants to make new friends and just kind of learn how to do college right, pretty much. So I'm going to check in periodically throughout this reading vlog to let you know what I'm thinking and what's going to happen. So be warned, there will be spoilers for this book. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do a non-spoilery part at the end, but if I do, I will leave a timestamp for it. So anyways, if you haven't read the book and you want to, please leave. If you don't care, by all means stay. So spoilers starting now. So I guess I'll start with the parts that I read yesterday. I only read about 32 pages, so this will be pretty quick. I don't think it's a mystery that the main character, Shane, is pretty much Christine. I mean, Christine has talked so much about how she poured her heart into a story and how this is the story that she wanted when she was 20 years old in college. So I'm not surprised that it feels like I'm reading Christine. And along with that, the writing style is also very much Christine. And I think that's going to be something that's going to draw people away from this book initially, because Christine has a very unique sense of humor, or at least I like to think so, and because I really enjoy it, I find it hilarious that I personally really like this. I'm having a good time reading it. I wouldn't call this the best writing in the world, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I really like Shane's inner monologue. It is so accurate to my own inner monologue when I'm having conversations. It's honestly kind of scary accurate how much I relate to Shane. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of me reading lines from this book because I find them so funny. Okay, here's one. That's the grocery store, right? Tesco? I test the word on my tongue. Interesting name for a grocery store. Shane, interesting name for a girl, he teases. I narrow my eyes. Pilot, interesting name for a human. That was page 23. Page 28. I expel the giant breath I've been very aware of holding for the past 30 seconds. This makes me laugh so much because I don't know if she's the first one who brought it up, but Christine was the first video that I saw that brought up the whole like cliche of a breath I didn't know I was holding. And she just freaking like attacked that. I guess my biggest complaint so far is that the writing style is a little bit inconsistent. Like, sometimes she hits it right on the mark with the humor and the comedy, but sometimes like in the descriptions it's a little bit choppy and it's kind of hard to follow. But again, I'm only 30 pages in, so we'll see. So I'm about 100 more pages into it. I'm at the part right after they came back from Paris and all that drama started with Chad going after Shane, and it's of course the douchebag ended up being named Chad, because why not? No offense to Chads out there. It's taken me a lot longer to read this than I anticipated, and I'm like chalking it all up to the fact that I'm fasting for Ramadan right now, and I didn't realize that it would be this hard to read while I was fasting. Like, I feel like I've done it in the past before, but I'm just so tired right now, and every time I look at the book I'm just like, I want to take a nap. But what's actually helping me is to listen to Christine's playlist for Again But Better that she put out on Spotify. I'm probably not doing it completely right because I don't know where I was supposed to start, because I didn't start right at the beginning of the book listening to it. But so far I really like the music, even just like as songs, so that's kind of helping me like kind of get more into the mood of the story. And the more I get into it, the more I actually don't mind the writing style as much. So far I think the pacing has been pretty good. There's a lot of things that happen, like this is taking place over a lot of times and they're going on all these adventures, but I think there's a good enough time spent on the important parts and we still get a good glimpse at what the adventures they go on through Shane's journals and blog posts. I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed this, but I feel like Pilot grins every single sentence. And it's driving me insane. I can't unsee it. I'm probably overreacting. It's not that big of a deal, but pet peeve. Also, I feel like so far, Pilot as a love interest kind of seems one-dimensional. Like, I like seeing Shane's inner monologue when interacting with him. I think it's really cute, but I feel like we don't really know much about him besides the fact that he writes music. He has a girlfriend, which is also a plot point that I don't know how they're gonna deal with that. But a moment that just happened that I thought was really nice was when after like it was like Babe, Chad, Pilot and Shane, they got off the subway and Shane was almost mugged and they were back in the hostel and Shane was feeling really overwhelmed and started crying. And she kind of just let out all of her feelings and her anxieties, and I thought that was a really like raw and pure moment. And I was really happy that she kind of let it all out and all her fears. And I really liked how that kind of made the bond between Shane and Pilot a little bit stronger. But also it is kind of one-sided because we get a lot of this raw emotion and vulnerability from Shane, but we don't see it so far in Pilot. He's just kind of like there supporting her, which is good, but I kind of want to see more from him. Okay, so I'm about halfway through now, and I got to the part where like her parents just surprise her in London and they take them all out to dinner and they find out that she's not pre-med, or she's not doing a pre-med internship studying abroad. And God, that scene was intense. Like that was, oh, I could just feel how like stuck she felt and how, oh my God, it was intense. I didn't like that feeling. And then every moment after that in London was just so sad because you could feel all her dreams were crushed and I just wanted to give her a hug. Yeah, so now I'm at the part where it jumps forward in time to 2017, so we'll see how that goes. Hi guys, it's a day later and I haven't read too much more. I'm on like page 250 right now and I'm just having trouble getting around the fact that this is all kind of cheating. Not kind of, it is cheating. At least emotional cheating. And then like definitely cheating when they're like going back into the past. I really like that element though. I like that idea. I like the whole concept around this book. I think it's really cute and I think it would be really good. It's just these elements of cheating. Like I feel like in the 6 years in the future part, they didn't need to have like both of them have partners. Like I get it that not Christine, oh my God. I get it that Shane didn't want to be with Melvin and that he was kind of like strange. But also she was with him for like 4 years. I feel like you would notice that, but I guess like when the idea of like settling down came up, it kind of made her realize that like, no, this is not the man I should be with. And that's what also makes the situation a little weirder, is that because they've been in like long-term relationships, like Pilot and Amy have been together for like 6 years now. So it's like extra bad. At least in the beginning, like there was a time where like Pilot wasn't really sure. He seemed not content with Amy, so him having feelings for someone else didn't seem out of the blue. Yeah, I don't know. It's just this really wishy-washy topic. Like, it's like we didn't have to go through this. Like, I feel like it's just kind of trope in YA at this point, is cheating. And in some cases, it's like it's not enough where you understand the main character and their situations where you don't think them badly of it. But it's like, can we stop having these almost situations? Like, can we just, like, not cheat? And it just kind of sucks, like, because I am really enjoying this book aside from that aspect. Like, if that just didn't exist, I would really like it. But you can't not take that into account. And also, just talking about Pilot, like I mentioned before, how I feel like we don't really know much about him. And we're like more than halfway through the book and I still feel like we don't know much about him. Or how he feels either. Like, you know that there was like something between them when they were in London to begin with. But it's just like, I feel like I'm not seeing as much chemistry as I should be seeing. Anywho, let's see how this goes. Spoke too soon, page 260. We finally get Pilot's side of the story, or just his opinions about things in general. This is where he decides to break up with Amy, and it's kind of sad, to be honest. Like, poor Amy didn't do anything wrong. And I kind of like how the whole again but better thing applies to him too, and kind of how he, like after the whole London thing, Amy didn't really trust him and was always kind of reading up on the girls that he was hanging out with and making sure he didn't have feelings for them because she didn't really trust him after that. And how he always wanted to make it up for her and he thought he was doing the right thing by sticking by her, when in reality he wasn't really making him happy. Though I do find that a little bit hard to believe that it kept on going for 6 years. I don't know like what limit I'd put on that, but like I feel like 6 years is a pretty long time. Maybe he just convinced himself that he was doing the right thing and that he was happy, and then now being with Shane he felt a different way that he forgot he could feel before. Am I making sense? I don't know. But at least they addressed the whole, like, we cannot continue this if you are still with Amy. Because that was kind of stressing me out. I can hear all the bones cracking. Oh. Huh. That was loud. Hey guys, it's a day later and I finally finished Again But Better. We have an abrupt background change because I needed a quiet place and this is in my basement so no one can hear me because it's like midnight right now. So I'm having kind of a hard time gathering my thoughts. And To be honest, the more I think about this book, the more I don't like it, and that's kind of upsetting to me because it was one of my most anticipated reads of the year. What sucks is that I think a lot of elements of this book are really good, they just either didn't go far enough, or just certain elements that did exist ruined it. So let's get into it, shall we? I did already address that I found it a little unbelievable that Pilot would be so ready to leave Amy, who he's been with for 6 years. Like, I feel like something was clearly keeping him there, not just the guilt. Like, I feel like that would have been more believable if it was maybe like a year or two after the events of The City Abroad, where he kept trying to make it up for her until he realized it just wasn't making him happy in the first place. But 6 years is a long time. And Shane's character didn't outright villainize Amy's character, but we were clearly supposed to root for Shane, and it's like, but Amy didn't do anything wrong. Also, in general, I just don't think I like the romance in this book too much. Like, I liked it in the beginning when it was very innocent and sweet and cute, and while I think it's a perfectly reasonable way for someone to start liking someone, sometimes you pick and you go. To justify the gravity of how much she felt for Pilot, even 6 years later, I feel like I needed to have a little bit more substantiation of their relationship. I guess it just comes down to I find it hard to believe that even 6 years later she would still hold on to these feelings. I could definitely understand her thinking about the what ifs and like what if they actually worked, if they actually happened. But I feel like after a certain point, you just kind of let it go. I feel like their interaction in New York, I would have liked better if it was completely random, like they bumped into each other and they were trying to catch up, because the fact that Shane went to him and he was kind of very reluctant to talk about things, like, I don't know, I just didn't like that dynamic. I've talked about this. I really like the idea of this book and the idea of going back in time and fixing what you did wrong because you didn't take enough chances, or I don't know, like you just didn't take your opportunities to the maximum potential. And I feel like once Shane was actually back in time, the first two things that she wanted to fix were, one, her relationship with Pilot, and two, her job. Like, she didn't want to choose being a doctor anymore. And what I really appreciate is that those weren't the only things that she realized that she needed to change about her life. I liked that she realized that she needed to actually, I guess, put more effort into her relationships, how she was listening more and talking more to Babe, and even to Pilot. She was listening to him talking about his family and his parents' divorce and his sisters, and especially her relationship with Leo was a big surprise for me, because we got in the first part how Leo was just kind of like, you know, a member of her family who kind of teases her for liking nerdy stuff, and when he messages her, she just kind of ignores it and shuts him away. But then we learn that he eventually drops out of college and they don't really remain in contact anymore. But then 2017 Shane actually asks him, what's up? How's he doing? And she learns that he's gay and that he broke up with his boyfriend and that he doesn't really know what he's doing with his life. And that was a shock to Shane, it was a shock to us, because like this character that we thought we just kind of threw to the backseat actually had emotions and a storyline that we should be paying attention to. Or at least Shane should. And I liked how that kind of made them rekindle their friendship and kind of like that cousinly bond. And personally, I found that really heartwarming because me and my cousins are really close and I love seeing cousin relationships. And so I liked the fact that she went back in time and she could fix what she already knew she wanted to change, but also realized that there was a lot of more things that she could have changed to make her life better. But then there was this part that, not gonna lie, kind of irritated me. It's when Amy shows up in the Part 2 England side, and we learn that Pilot broke up with her through a voicemail, and she didn't get it, so she didn't know, and like, it just, drama. And then Shane went on saying how because she was with Pilot, she was ignoring her duties and she was late to her internship and she was never that kind of person. And to be honest, it kind of felt that she was overreacting. Because like, yeah, she made a mistake. She got carried away with being with Pilot and was late to her internship. But I feel like realizing that is not grounds to break up the relationship. Like, I feel like that's just kind of like an, oh shoot, I should fix that. And then paired with the whole Amy thing, there was just a lot. And I was like, what is happening? I just did not like that. And then at the end, it resolves pretty quickly too, with Pilot kind of surprising her in Edinburgh and playing her the Taylor Swift songs and them kind of just deciding to be with each other again. And that moment was really cute. Like I said, she writes these really cute, like one-shot, isolated moments really well. It's just the before and the after, just not enough. So So now I've had some time to think about this book and really gauge what I liked and what I disliked, and so now I'm ready to give my overall thoughts. This part, it will be non-spoilers, so if you're just joining us, no worries. It was kind of hard for me to initially rate this book because since I wanted to enjoy this book so badly, I was kind of making up reasons as to why I did enjoy it, or kind of lying to myself that I did enjoy some things that I actually didn't. But the more time I spent away from it, the more I could objectively look at it. So after thinking about it, I ended up giving this book 2 stars, which was really disappointing because, like I said, I really wanted to like this. Christine is still a wonderful booktuber and a wonderful person, but this book just did not meet my expectations. So I'll start with the positive and some things that I did like about this book. So one is the voice of our main character, Shane. I really liked it. I thought she was so unapologetically nerdy, and that was just so fun to read about. A large part of Shane's character is definitely a self-insert of Christine, but to be honest, this didn't really bother me. I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. For all we know, a lot of authors do this, but because we don't have the transparency that we have with Christine, with her sharing so much of her life on the internet, we don't know that. So I think inherently that's not an issue. And personally, I really enjoyed Shane's personality. I also really liked the concept of this book. I liked the whole idea of, if you could do things over again, what would you do? Again, but better. And I really liked how Shane grew throughout this book and through all these experiences, and how she kind of learned that she needed to live for herself first and foremost. And I thought that was a really positive message to send. Also, there was a lot of diversity in this book in terms of race and ethnicity and sexuality, and I really liked how it wasn't a big spectacle. It was just kind of normalized, and it was just a part of their characters. And that normalization of diversity is just something that I want to see more in literature, so I really appreciated seeing that in this book. And I really enjoyed the friendship Shane made with said characters, specifically Babe and Leo. I adored Babe, she was so cute, I loved her personality, and Leo ended up being a really big surprise, and I really liked the direction that the book took with him and his relationship with Shane and how their bond grew throughout the story. Even though these were elements that I enjoyed, I think a lot of them were underutilized, and I just wish we got to see more of them because I did really enjoy them. So now we're gonna get to the things that I didn't like. Some of these were just kind of meh, but some of them were strong dislike. While I liked the voice of the narrative, the writing itself was just not my cup of tea. Some passages are really choppy, and while they give you a lot of details, they don't actually tell you or show you what's happening in the scene or help you situate yourself into the environment. Like, they go on these adventures to London and Rome and Paris, but you never, at least for me, I didn't actually feel like I was in those places. I didn't feel the magic of being in a new place. In terms of dialogue, for the most part, I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the sense of humor. But also, I noticed throughout the book that sometimes exchanges would just go on for too long, and it gets to an awkward point. And it was awkward in a way that I don't think it was supposed to be awkward. Like, a lot of times in the book, I just kind of wanted to delete some lines. I'm like, this was not necessary. The second thing I didn't like about this book was the romance, and given that this is largely a rom-com, that's disappointing. I liked how Shane and Pilot started. I thought it was really cute, and I loved hearing Shane's inner monologue. A lot of people found it annoying, but I found it really relatable and funny. But I never really went anywhere from that. Aside from a few moments, there wasn't really anything that was making me believe that they actually cared for each other. And even if I did, it was very one-sided. Like, we barely learned anything about Pilot in the entire first half, and only some snippets in the second half. And that was after we were already supposed to believe that they liked each other, that they cared for each other. I will say I did enjoy the scenes when they were actually together. I thought they were hilarious and goofy in the most romantic way possible. Like, they were so much fun. But I can't ignore the fact that there was not substantial build-up, like nearly as much as there should have been, given a lot of the things that happened. Speaking of which, I really did not enjoy how much drama there was in this book, or I should say drama for drama's sake. There's a lot of gray area cheating, and at one point even full-on cheating, and it really adds nothing to the plot except drama. And while it is addressed, it's not nearly as condemned as it should be, and I'm just tired of YA contemporary having this cliche or this trope. Like, there must be better ways to keep the plot moving forward. There's even a point in the second half where the drama gets, to be honest, kind of ridiculous. It's introduced for no reason at all. It kind of interrupts the narrative, and it makes the characters act in a way that they weren't really set up to act like. And at that point, I was just kind of rolling my eyes because everything felt so contrived. What it comes down to is that I think this book had a good setup for a solid story, and it just fell in execution, which was really disappointing. For that reason, I think I will check out Christine's books in the future because I think she can grow as a writer. But to be honest, I probably would check out her books no matter what because I do want to support her. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching this reading vlog, book talk thing that I created. I had a lot of fun making it and I really hope you enjoyed it. So see you later. Bye.